Hi, people. Marino Ravenberg here again, as always, and or as usual. This is another movie, occult relevant video that I'm going to do, which I haven't done in a while. So, this will be in addition to my playlist called The Occult Merit from Movies, in which I discuss. The header is already self explanatory, the playlist header. I simply discuss whether a movie that has occult undertones or has anything that resembles a paranormal or spiritual theme, whether it has merit, okay, whether what you see in the movie has any bearing on real life or in real life. And the movie that I'm going to discuss today is a movie called 1408 or Room 1408, but the official title is just 1408, 1408. The movie stars two well known actors, especially from the 90s or the early 2000s, called John Cusack and Samuel Jackson. And to keep a really long story short, a novel writer or a novelist, someone that writes books, specifically horror books, or books that are horror themed, and he does specifically so by visiting real life locations that are allegedly haunted, and then he writes books on them. And most of them are, absolute fiction. They're just made up in the sense that these places aren't exactly haunted or nothing has befallen him, nothing negative. This writer, played by John Cusack, he really meets his maker, so to speak, hypothetically speaking, when he comes across a hotel that has specifically a room that is haunted, to say the least, due to tremendous negativity housing itself in that room. And he simply does what he usually does, but he ends up seriously regretting it because the room is actually haunted and it gives him a run for his money in terms of anguish and pain and suffering that it inflicts upon him. For the most part, psychological, although there is also some physical damage that he endures, so physical injuries that he has to endure, burning his hand or cutting his hand or something along those lines. So yeah, this room primarily psychologically torments him by using everything essentially that has happened to him in his life of a negative nature, and that he's insecure about, so things that he hasn't processed. The room basically takes that and uses that as ammunition against him and bombards him with negative thoughts and stuff like that. And yeah, I almost want to say, if you haven't watched this movie, obviously, then simply check the link in the description below. I don't want to give the ending away, especially if you're someone that likes horror movies. If you're the average person and you like horror movies or you have little to no occult affinity, then yeah, you're gonna enjoy the hell out of this movie. From a neutral point of view, I give this movie a 7.5 out of 10 on a scale of 0 to 10. But as an occultist, especially for me personally, are you kidding me? This movie is like a 6.5 at best for me. But yeah, that's not due to the movie. The movie is a good movie, okay? The movie is semi-great even. It's just that nothing phases me. In any case, I'm not going to give the ending away. I've said enough. Now, for the occult merit in the movie, or better said, the things that you see in the movie in the way of a haunting, generally speaking, okay, everything you see in the movie, the likes of which I described, spirits or a spirit specifically, malevolent or otherwise, using, for example, your own thoughts and things that you're insecure about against you, is possible, obviously, but it's highly unlikely. This is something that in reality rarely happens. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, it does. There are bound to be a couple of locations globally where this is the case or where this has occurred, but again, this is highly, and I repeat, highly unlikely, generally speaking. For a room being haunted, yeah, that's a lot more common. Yeah, any space can be haunted essentially, so a room should be no exception. A room is no exception, but specifically that a spirit or an entity is going to use your own life insecurities, things that happened to you in the past. For example, if you're a woman, you were violently sexually assaulted, you were raped or almost raped, and has traumatized you, and you haven't learned to process it, or you haven't processed it and healed yourself from said trauma. It using it against you, yeah, that's very plausible. But like I said, statistically speaking, globally, it's unlikely in general. If a spirit wants to harm you, it's generally speaking just going to cause misfortune in your life. It's going to torment you. End of story. And basically, bluntly put, fucking with your mind is an option, but not really the ideal option, because generally speaking, spirits that want to torture you will simply cause chaos and misfortune in your life overall. End of story. But to haunt you with things from the past, yeah, statistically speaking, that's unlikely, like I said. So that is all. If you haven't watched the movie, again, check the link in the description below for a link to where you can watch the movie for free without downloading it, to stream it for free. Of course, no copyright, etc. No copyright infringement intent included. No copyright infringement intentions here that I have. And that is all. See you guys later. Bye.